The Treaty of Brest Litovsk, March 3, 1918. By Allison, McGlynn. The Treaty of Brest Litovsk was signed in 1918 on March 3rd. It was a treaty of peace between the Central Powers, headed by Russia and Germany. This treaty was signed in Brest Litovsk and concluded Russia's participation in World War I. Having Russia involved in the war alongside France and Britain resulted in many losses against Germany. These losses made a strain on the Russians, and discontent began to arise within the country. The cause of the Bolsheviks was strengthened by the discontent. The Bolsheviks was a socialist group, led by Vladimir Lenin, that was working to harness opposition to the Tsar and turn it into a sweeping revolution. This revolution later happened in Russia, but the group hoped that the revolution would spread to the rest of the world. The February Revolution started in early March 1917, but according to the Julian calendar, which the Russians used at the time, it was February, hence the name. Nicholas, the Tsar at the time, abdicated the throne earlier that month. After the leader of the Bolsheviks, Vladimir Lenin, returned from exile, he and his group worked to seize power from the provisional government, which was led by Alexander Konursky. Alexander Konursky was Russia's Minister of War. The Bolsheviks came out with a victory on November 6. They were aided by the Russian military. One of his first actions as leader was to call to halt the Russian participation in the war. A truce was called early in December of 1917. Along with that agreement, a ceasefire was declared on the 15th of December. But the terms of the peace between Russia and the Central Powers was very complicated. The negotiations started on December 22nd at Brest Litovsk. Foreign ministers Leon Trotsky of Russia, Baron Richard von Kuhlmann of Germany, and Count Ottokar Sezner of Austria led the delegations. In February, angry Trotsky deemed the Central Powers' terms too harsh and demands for territory unacceptable. On the Eastern Front, fighting resumed and the German armies advanced quickly. Both Lenin and Trotsky then realized that Russia would be forced to give in to the enemy. Later that month, negotiations resumed and the final treaty was signed on March 3rd. The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk recognized the independence of Ukraine, Georgia, and Finland. Also, Russia gave up Poland and the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia to Germany and Austria-Hungary. Finally, it also ceded Kars, Ardahan, and Batum to Turkey. In conclusion, Russia lost 1 million square miles of its former territory, which consisted of 55 million people, which was a third of its territory, most of its coal, oil, and iron stores, and much of its industry. Lenin was forced to hope that the spread of world revolution, which was his biggest dream, would eventually right the wrongs done at Brest Litovsk.